Okay, so for this video, I'm going to go over how to solve some multi-step equations and check your answers. So just looking ahead, these are the kind of problems that I will be solving. Okay, when you get an equation that has a single term touching parentheses and there's multiple terms inside, you can always start by simplifying this by distributing that single term to each term inside parentheses. So this would equal 3x minus 6 equals 12. Then, to solve equations with multiple steps, you want to do order of operations but in reverse. So start at the bottom. Is there any addition or subtraction that I can work on? Yes, we're subtracting 6. So I'm going to add 6 to both sides. Negative 6 and a positive 6 equals 0. So I'm left with 3x equals 18. Then I see we're multiplying by 3, so I'm going to divide both sides by 3. 3 divided by 3 equals 1, so I'm left with x equals 18 divided by 3, which is 6. Okay. For my check, I'm going to write the original equation, which is 3 times x minus 2 over 12, equals 12, on the t-chart. Then I'm going to plug in my answer, x equals 6. 3 times 6 minus 2 needs to equal 12. Then I'm going to start evaluating. So I'm going to do parentheses first. 6 minus 2 is 4. So this is 3 times 4 should equal 12. And 3 times 4 equals 12. So since I got the same number on both sides of my check, my equation's balanced, and my answer, x equals 6, is the correct answer. Next. All right, fractions. Are we scared? You shouldn't be. So let's see. I'm going to start my order of operations in reverse to undo the knot that is this equation. So is there any addition or subtraction? Yes, we're adding 37. So I'm going to subtract 37 to both sides. Now, positive 37 minus 37, that equals 0. So I'm left with 3/5 n equals 3. Next, n is being multiplied by 3/5. So the opposite of multiplying by 3/5 is dividing by 3/5. But dividing by 3/5 is the same thing as multiplying by 5/3. Dividing by a fraction is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. So one way you can actually solve this problem is to multiply both sides by 5/3. And something cool will happen. This 5 and this 5, if I multiply them together, would equal 1. And this 3 and this 3, if I multiply them together, would equal 1. So on that side of the equation, I'd be left with n equals 3 and 3 would equal 1, so I'm left with n equals 5. All right, now let's do the check. 3/5 n plus 37 equals 40. 3/5 times 5, watch how I wrote that 5, plus 37 equals 40. Now the reason I wrote the 5 like that is now I can multiply them. This 5 and this 5 would equal 1, so I'm left with 3 over 1, or just 3. 3 plus 37 needs to equal 40. And 3 plus 37 is 40. So since both of the sides of my check equal the same number, my equation is balanced, and n equals 5 is the correct answer. All right. Now here, I know that I said that you need to do order of operations in reverse, but you can't touch that addition because these are grouped together in the numerator, and you have to do the groupings last. So really what I'm going to do is address the fact that we're dividing by -2. And the opposite of dividing by -2 is multiplying by -2. So I'm going to multiply this side of the equation by -2, and I'm going to multiply this side of the equation by -2. And the -2 here and here will cancel out because they equal 1. So I have x plus 3 equals -8. Then, since we're adding 3, I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. Positive 3 and -3 equals 0, so I'm left with x equals -11. All right, now I'm going to do my check. I have x plus 3 over -2, and I have 4. I'm going to plug in -11. -11 plus 3 divided by -2 needs to equal 4. I'm going to handle the grouping up here first. -11 plus 3 is -8. So -8 divided by -2 needs to equal +4. So let's see, we have a negative divided by a negative, which is a positive. So 4 equals 4, check. Now, since both of my sides of the check equal the same number, that means that my answer is correct. All right, more fractions. Are we scared? I hope not. All right, So let's see, I'm going to do order of operations in reverse. And what I might do just to help myself, since I know I have to undo the addition of 3/8, is I might write all of these in terms of eighths. Actually, I might just write the two fractions in terms of eighths. So I might just write this as, okay, this is really 2x plus 3/8 equals, a half is really 4/8. And then I can start by subtracting 3/8 from both sides. Positive 3/8 and negative 3/8 equals 0. So I'm left with 2x equals 1/8. Now what I could do is just write this 2x equals 1/8 to give myself some extra room to finish the problem. X is being multiplied by 2, so I have to divide both sides by 2. So x equals 1/16. You can use your calculator. All right, so I'm going to do my check. 2x plus 3/8 needs to equal 1/2. 2 times 1/16 plus 3/8 needs to equal 1/2. Now, when I multiply these two numbers together, I can say, okay, 2, I can make that a 1, and 16, I can make that an 8. So that's really 1/8 plus 3/8 needs to equal 1/2. 4/8 needs to equal 1/2. And I know that 4/8 is the same thing as 1/2, so I can write 1/2 equals 1/2, check. All right, last problem. Isabella went to the store and she bought 4 folders and 3 binders. Each binder cost $6. Ooh, so I know that she bought 3 binders and each one cost $6. Isabella sent a total, so all of it together equaled $19.40. How much did each folder cost? So what would X be here? X is the unknown. We're trying to find out how much each folder costs. So X is going to be the cost per folder. Now, they want you to make an equation and solve it to find the answer. So let's start with talking about what Isabella bought. She bought 4 folders. And I don't know the cost per folder, but I do know I'm going to label it as X. So that means she bought 4 times whatever the cost of a folder is. And she bought 3 binders. Now, I know each binder costs $6, so that's 3 times 6. Some of you guys already know that's 18. And her total, what this all equaled, was $19.40. All right, so now I can start solving the equation. 4x plus 18 equals $19.40. Subtract 18 from both sides and line up your decimals. 4x equals $1.40. So the 4 folders together equal $1.40. How much does each folder cost? X equals 35 cents. So each folder should cost 35 cents. Now let's see if that makes sense. All right, so if she has 3 binders and they cost $6, and if she has 4 folders and they cost 35 cents, how much would that equal altogether? Well, 3 times 6 is 18, and 4 times 35 cents is $1.40. What would that equal altogether? $19.40. Does that check with the total they gave us earlier? Yes. So I know that my answer is correct. All right, I hope this was helpful. Please see me if you have any questions.